Okay, so hi friends. I wanted to talk to you today about something that just keeps coming up in all of the programming that we're doing. And it's really simple. It's probably one of the most top requested questions that I have. It's high cholesterol. What do we do when our cholesterol is high? There's lots that we have to understand about cholesterol, and I wanted to take some time with you today to be able to explain some of those things. One of the things that we have to understand is that everybody's baseline level of cholesterol is going to be different. Say in your blood you need 1,000 milligrams. Somebody next to you might need 1,200. Somebody next to you might need 800. This is all determined by your genetics, by your ancestry, and your culturally appropriate dietary technique. This is where your blood lipid profile is created. And so say you need 1,000 milligrams of cholesterol in your blood. One of the things that we have to understand is that your liver creates cholesterol. And even right there, everybody's like, what? Liver? You make your own cholesterol? You do. So there's an enzyme, HMG-CoA reductase, inside of your liver that creates cholesterol. And so your dietary cholesterol, the cholesterol that you eat, you only absorb 50% of it. So say you need 1,000, you eat 600, you only absorb 300. Your liver is going to make 700 milligrams of cholesterol to maintain that constant level of cholesterol in your blood. You need cholesterol for like the skin of every cell in your body. So you actually need a lot, and your liver's pretty responsive to this process. And so the problem is that when you start to eat more cholesterol in your diet, say you start having 1,200 milligrams of cholesterol, you only absorb 600, your liver only needs to make 300, but it's used to making 700, and so it takes your liver weeks to be able to understand that you're eating a lot more cholesterol than normal, and to be able to scale back and get to that 300 milligrams mark. So there's going to be a period of weeks where your blood cholesterol levels are going to be super high. This is why when they do studies on cholesterol, and they put people on high fat diets, and they're measuring them for the first week, their cholesterol is through the roof. High fat diet is bad for cholesterol. This is not the case, because after 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, your liver will finally be able to understand and be back to baseline. So you could dismiss, like, I'd hate to throw it like really arbitrarily, but you could throw out like 80% of the literature on blood cholesterol levels just because of that fact alone, because their follow-up doesn't happen past 4 or 6 or 8 weeks. They look at what happens after 1 week of a high-fat diet, or in a mouse too. So the same thing happens when you have low cholesterol. You start eating a lot less. Your liver's used to making 700. Well, now you're only eating 200 milligrams of cholesterol a day. So that means only 100 is being absorbed. So your liver needs to now all of a sudden learn to go from 700 milligrams to 900 milligrams. And this takes weeks for it to be able to learn that. And again, in all of the research, not all of the research, but in so much of the research, they put people on a low-fat diet, a low cholesterol diet, stop eating eggs, and their cholesterol levels are low and acceptable. But the problem is that if you check 4, 6, 8 weeks, that is eventually going to go back to baseline. Everybody's baseline measurements are different. Depending on who you are and where you're from and what your culturally appropriate diet is, it's going to be different everywhere. So where does high cholesterol come from? Why do I have high cholesterol? Why is my doctor so worried about my cholesterol levels are through the roof? The problem is that insulin stimulates HMG-CoA reductase, the enzyme that creates cholesterol in your liver. Insulin stimulates that. So if your insulin levels are high, your cholesterol levels are gonna be stimulated and are gonna be high as well. This insulin stimulates the production of cholesterol regardless of your intake. So you might be eating the same amount of cholesterol every day, but the amount of calories, the amount of sugar and carbohydrates raise your insulin levels. Too much insulin in your body, you're always going to be making more cholesterol than what you need. So the most appropriate technique to lowering your cholesterol levels is actually coming up in 2 days from now. Tomorrow, we're going to begin our February fast. Tomorrow afternoon is going to be my last meal, 2-3 o'clock or whatever, and we'll do our 3-day fast. After 3 days, one of the reasons why we chose 3 days is because of the literature around cholesterol and insulin. So in order for your body to achieve baseline levels of insulin, lower all of the insulin in your body, this takes at least 72 hours. So 3 days fasting, and your insulin levels are going to be low. Now your liver is it's going to not be under the influence of these crazy amounts of insulin, making it produce so much cholesterol. With the insulin levels low, your liver is able to slow down the production of cholesterol until your blood cholesterol levels are back to baseline. That's the most important step. I always tell everybody the first step that we should do to maybe engage in some fasting, get those insulin levels low. If you actually want to get them done with your doctor, it's a CPEP. Get your CPEP score, and that should always be layered with your cholesterol scores too. If your insulin levels are too high, we know we cannot trust the cholesterol level in your body right now. And the same thing is if you've been eating different cholesterol amounts for week after week, low fat here, high fat here, low fat here, you're not going to get an accurate reading. The best way to get an accurate reading to understand what your baseline levels of cholesterol is by engaging in fasting and eating the same thing every day for like 8 weeks. So in 8 weeks and 2 months, you would get 2 3-day monthly fasts that would be responsible and very effective at reducing your insulin levels and be able to provide you with what your actual accurate reading is for your baseline levels of cholesterol. And so then you'll be able to measure fluctuations away from that too high or too low later, more accurately. So there's so many different things to consider, but and we always want to we think we need medicine and we want to find the medicine and make some tea and then everything will be okay. Sometimes it's not the case though. And so I wanted to share with you guys really perfect time to be able to explain some of the issues around cholesterol. One of the reasons why fasting is so important and why hitting that 3-day mark at least is super important to be able to get those cholesterol levels or insulin levels low and help correct your blood lipid profile. More often than not, we don't need medicine. And there's a huge sustainability piece there as well that is beyond the scope of this video. But if all we have to do is engage in other aspects of our culture, fasting, culturally appropriate diet, exercise, long-form endurance exercise, snowshoeing, trap lines, and you see all the crazy things everybody's doing, this is a culturally appropriate lifestyle. And if we're separated from that, things are not going to be operating the way they should. Medicine is an aspect of our culture that I really like to teach about, to get us engaging with, because it supports and promotes good health. But can't forget all of those other things. So I hope that I gave you what you needed to be able to understand a little bit more about the importance of fasting and cholesterol, and use that as motivation and inspiration to engage in your culture a little bit more. So it'd be awesome to hear everybody's feedback throughout this month's February fast, or upcoming months, 3-day monthly fast. It's gonna be fun. I've been waiting for it for a while. I almost snuck a couple in January just because I couldn't wait, but I really like doing it together with everybody. There's a really neat little community that I want to consolidate somewhere at some point, but there's some really awesome results from these 3-day fasts. So we'll see you there. I guess. Bum on peace.